On the very night of marrying my husband, Michael, who was previously in vegetative state, I prepared to undress him for a bath. As I put down the zipper of his pants, I suddenly felt my wrist tighten. Instinctively, I looked down and saw Michael's eyes open, staring at me with a dark and ominous gaze. What was going on? I was about to scream when the man on the bed swiftly sat up, pulled me into his arms, and covered my mouth and nose with his other hand. The entire sequence of movements was fluid and swift, completely unlike what a newly awakened person in vegetative state could accomplish. "Shut up," he barked fiercely in my ear. Then I was held tightly in Michael's embrace, frozen stiff, but my mind was clear. It dawned on me that Michael had recovered, and he must have been recovered for some time. Otherwise, a person who had been bedridden for so long couldn't possibly have such well-toned muscles. "Don't make a sound," he ordered, and I nodded, at which point he released me. The first thing he did after sitting up was to turn around and zip up his pants. I blushed immediately at the sight. "When did you wake up?" I couldn't help but ask. "What I just did wasn't intentional. I meant about touching you like that," I clarified. Michael didn't respond, so I continued. "If you've been awake for a while, why did you pretend to be in a vegetative state?" Michael spoke coldly. "Return the $80 million immediately, or shut up and choose for yourself." My heart skipped a beat. Although I was curious about why Michael had pretended to be in a vegetative state, I needed the money even more. Only with money could I save my father's life's work and help my younger brother. I chose to shut up. Then Michael sneered and walked to the door, carefully locking it from the inside. Without looking at me, he grabbed a pair of pajamas and walked into the bathroom. The sound of water flowing in the bathroom lasted for a long time. After the water stopped, Michael emerged from the bathroom, dressed in pajamas. I sat cross-legged on the sofa beside the bed, watching him silently. Michael, with his eyes open, exuded a dangerous aura. As he approached, I unconsciously tensed up. "Not a word of what you saw today should leave this room, or I'll make you disappear from Jinchen forever," Michael threatened, standing in front of me with his hands resting on the back of the sofa, looking down at me. "Miss Shen, you know I have the ability." I panicked a little and said, "I won't say anything." "Good girl," Michael replied dismissively before pushing aside a hidden wall in the bedroom, and disappearing into a secret passage, the destination of which was unknown. Then after Michael left, I tiptoed over to the secret wall, and tried to open it the way he did, but I couldn't get it to budge. It seemed that his room, or even the entire solitary moon villa, was filled with hidden mechanisms. I stayed awake in the big bed until midnight, and around 8 a.m., I felt Michael lie down on the other side of the bed. However, there seems to be a typo in the last sentence, as Michael doesn't make sense in this context. I'll assume it's a mistake and continue with the translation. Even though we were far apart, her aura still subtly pressed down on me, making it impossible for me to fall asleep peacefully. My wedding night was truly mystifying and heart-pounding. The next morning, I woke up early to wash up and dress. As I walked out of the bedroom, I glanced back at Michael, who lay motionless on the bed, once again assuming the appearance of a vegetative state. He was really good at pretending. Then on the second day of my marriage, I followed the tradition and returned to the Jin family's ancestral home to serve tea. After leaving the Jin residence, I headed straight to the hospital to visit my younger brother, who had been in a coma since a car accident. When I returned to Solitary Moon Villa from the hospital, and just stepped into the courtyard, I saw all the servants and bodyguards of Solitary Moon Villa standing outside. "What's going on?" I asked Xiao Tzu. "Dr. Fan is back," Xiao Tzu whispered. "Dr. Fan has a strange temperament. He doesn't like any noise around when he's examining patients, so every time he comes we all have to go outside." I nodded, thinking that this doctor wasn't just eccentric, he must be using this as a cover to give Michael some private space to move around. "Can I go in?" "As a young mistress, Dr. Fan shouldn't dare to scold you," Xiao Tzu said. I pushed open the door and entered the hall, which was empty. I walked around but didn't see anyone, so I turned and headed upstairs. In the gym on the second floor, Michael was wearing a black vest and hanging from a machine, pulling himself up. A man in a white coat with glasses leaned against a treadmill. He was Michael's personal physician, Dr. Fan Yuandian. Dr. Fan Yuan looked at Michael with disdain on his face. You've been pretending for so long. How come you suddenly let it slip last night? Michael kept a straight face and didn't speak. He didn't know how to explain last night's situation to Dr. Fan. He hadn't intended to reveal himself so soon, but my soft hands kept wandering over his body, making it difficult for him to resist. If he hadn't jumped up to stop my hands, he might have lost control. This is a final stretch. You soon have the evidence to put the person who harmed you behind bars. Don't you fear alerting the enemy and ruining everything? Michael didn't respond, but Jinting was convinced. How do you know? You know him. He's money hungry, and money can silence him. I stood at the gym door, hearing Michael's cold and dismissive voice with a trace of helplessness in his eyes. It seemed that Michael, like everyone else in Jinchen, believed that I was a person who would stop at nothing for money. And indeed, marrying a vegetative man just a week after my father's death, what other explanation could there be besides being money-driven? Just as I was about to turn around and head back to my room, my foot accidentally kicked the green plant by the door. Who's out there? Dr. Fan Yuan quickly chased out and looked surprised to see me. Are you Patient's new wife? I nodded. Hello, little sister-in-law. I am Fan Yuan, Patient's personal physician. Fan Yuan reached out to me. Hello, I said, just as I was about to shake his hand. Jin Shan stood in front of me, blocking our handshake. You go out first, he ordered. Michael gave Fan Yuan a look. Reluctantly, Fan Yuan said, oh, and as he walked to the door, he couldn't help but glance back at me, one more time. Michael closed the door, leaving just the two of us in the spacious private gym. You dare to eavesdrop? He stared at me with chilling, menacing eyes. What did you hear? I heard you say I love money. My voice rose. So, I am wrong to blame you. Fine, my fault. I do love money, especially money. How about this, lend me another 80 million. I thought, since he already thinks I am a gold-digging opportunist, I might as well go all in. What did you say? Michael couldn't believe his ears. This woman had just taken an 80 million dowry and was now shamelessly asking for more. Lend me 80 million, I repeated. On what grounds? On the grounds of your face. No, on the grounds that I know your secret. I summoned my courage and looked him straight in the eye. What do you think would happen if I let it slip that you, pretending to be a vegetative state? Jing Tingshan, his eyes instantly turned dark and menacing. He grabbed my chin. Try it if you dare. Of course, I didn't dare. This was just a test, and Jing Tingshan's eyes were already so terrifying that it felt like he was going to tear me apart on the spot. I didn't dare to be reckless. I am just joking, I said immediately, smiling decisively and ingratiatingly. Don't be angry, I won't say anything. Jing Tingshan didn't speak, just staring at me coldly. Is there anything else you want to say? But 80 million is just a drop in the bucket for you. I am your wife now, don't be so petty. And I said borrow, someday, when I earn the money, I'll definitely pay you back. If the hard approach didn't work, I'd try the soft one. Wife. You, a money-grubbing person, want to be my wife. Michael's face was cold as he shook off my chin. Remember, you're just a placeholder. Having hit a dead end with Jing Tingshan, I had to find another way. But who could I borrow money from? If I didn't have any working capital soon, I wouldn't be able to pay the salaries, and the old employees would leave. The Royal Cuisine restaurant, which my father had run for a lifetime, would be destroyed in my hands. I was at a loss when Luo Jian called. Uncle Yan, I have good news. An investor contacted me and said he wants to know about the current situation of the Royal Cuisine restaurant. He said he's interested in investing. Luo Jian sounded excited. Really? What investor? I am not sure, but he said he was a friend of your father's before he passed away. Do you want to meet him? A friend of my father's before he passed away. These words made me let down my guard for a moment. I thought, it's just a meeting. What's the harm? If I can really meet a good investor, The Royal Cuisine restaurant might still have a chance. Then I went to the bathroom to take a shower and change it into a slightly more formal suit dress. Just as I was about to leave, Michael, who had finished his workout, walked into the bedroom. I was still a little angry and pretended not to see him, turning to open the door.